Okay, welcome to tutorial session. What I'm going to go over is the what you need to be able to complete the back of your worksheet. We talked about in class today, we talked about trig functions, correct? So let's just review those, making sure that we understand those very well. So again, what we had is we had a right triangle, all right? We had sides. This is triangle ABC. And let's just go ahead and use a Pythagorean triple. Give me a triple, someone. 3, 4, 5. Let's multiply it by 2. It's going to be what? 6, 6, 8, 10. All right? That's a triple. Remember, it's proportion. It still works. Don't think you guys can see that. I'm sorry. Hold on one second. Let me get this a little bit better. You don't need a light on there. Let me use a different marker. Let me bring this down. Okay. Yeah, that's better. Okay, here we go. 6, 8, 10. And this is triangle A, B, C. If I ask you for the sine of B, we're going to take the sine of B, the cosine of B, and the tangent of B. Tell me what those are. What is the sine of B? What's sine again? Opposite over hypotenuse. So what is opposite to angle B? 8. Very good. 8 over what? The hypotenuse, which is what? 10. Which is 4/5. Right. You can reduce that to 4 over 5. Yes. Okay. Questions on this so far? What about cosine of B? Cosine of B is going to be what? Adjacent over what? Hypotenuse. 6 over 10, which equals what? 3/5. Excellent. Tangent of B. Thank you. Opposite over adjacent. So what's opposite to B? 8. What's adjacent to B? 6, which is 4/3. So again, what did we say about the triangles? When we're trying to identify the opposite, what do we know about that side? That side does what? Does not do what? Touch the angle, right? Because what two sides are going to touch the angle? Adjacent and the hypotenuse are going to touch the angle. Do we have questions about that? Questions? Excellent. Let's move on. So that's just a brief review. So that will help you figure out how to solve the front of the sheet. The issue is the back of the sheet, and that's what we need to go over. Okay? So we're taking notes. If you're watching this at home, you need to take notes and turn them in tomorrow, along with your worksheet completed. If we don't have school, I'll put something else up for you, okay? Huh? What you mean something else? What do you mean something else? Okay, well, so if we don't have school, we just like, okay, okay, one second. All right. Find trigonometric ratios using right triangles. And we're going to use trigonometric ratios to find the angle measures in the right triangles. So that's what we're really going to talk about today, is this using trigonometric ratios to find the angle measures in the right triangle, okay, in right triangles. So what we're going to have to use is we're going to have to use a calculator to find the measure of an angle, which is the inverse of the trigonometric ratio. Sine, cosine, tangent of an acute angle. We're not finding it of the 90-degree angle. Rather, we are finding of the acute angles within the right triangle. So again, let's go ahead and write this in words. There it is. Go ahead and write that out. I hope they can see that. I'm almost thinking they can't see that. Sometimes you can't see it. It would be better if you turn up the light.
Why you just
Yeah, I can email this out today. Go ahead and I'll email it out to you guys today.
That'll work better because the video you can hear talking, but you can't see the board.
You can't see the board in the video.
If you just email
Okay, I'll email these out to you like I did like that one other time. Did you all get that? Ladarius home?
No, you said.
I'm sorry, I don't think I have your email address. Yeah, I do. I do have yours. Anyone that didn't receive the PowerPoint last time?
Which one? Which one?
Okay. So it may be easier if you open up your PowerPoint and then go through it. That may help you. It'll have a different background, but I'm going to send it to you. So if A is an acute angle and the sine of A is x, then the inverse sine of x is a measure of angle A. Okay? And the inverse of cosine is going to give you the measure of A. And the inverse of tangent is going to give you that. And as you can see, this is what it means. That if the sine of A equals x, then if we take the inverse of whatever x is, we can find the actual measure of angle A. We have yet to find the measures of A. Vocabulary. So this should be familiar because we went through the vocabulary. You had to complete the vocabulary earlier. You said what now?
I thought somebody just saying something fast.
So after you write this one here, for cosine and tangent, just go ahead and write this, okay? Just write the if-then statement. What's the if-then statement? Those are what kind of statements? Conditional statements. Very good. Well, then don't write it for tangent.
So it just applies the same way instead of.
Yeah, you're just going to put inverse cosine, inverse tangent. Just for time's sake, okay? And again, as you know, you can find this in your book. Write it down. You ready to finish? Okay. All right, great. So let's talk about this. So the expressions the inverse sine of x is read, the inverse sine of x is interpreted as the angle with sine of x. So this is what this means. When you see this symbol, sine raised to the -1 power x is read the inverse sine of x and is interpreted as the angle with sine x. So what we're trying to find, for instance, earlier we had sine was 3/5. Well, what is the angle that has a measure of sine 3/5? So that's when we would find the inverse to figure out what the angle measure is. Something completely different. Okay? Okay. Questions on this so far? Okay. If you could grab those calculators and pass them out. So here we go. Use the thought here. If the tangent of 30 degrees is equivalent to decimal 0.58, then the inverse tangent of 0.58 equals 30 degrees. Okay? Yeah, this is, no. Okay? Just written incorrectly. Okay? So you already have a calculator, right? You can give me one so I can show them on camera. Thank you. Okay. The first thing you're going to do with your calculator is make sure it's in radians. It should be point right here. It should be in degrees. Make sure it's in degrees. So you go to mode and make sure it's in degrees. Huh? Just use it until it just doesn't work for you. It should last you through the class period. Okay? Okay, so now let's go through this. Here we have an example. So what does it want us to find? Measure of angle P. All right? The measure of angle P to the nearest tenth. So when we're trying to find the measure of an angle, we're going to use the what? What did we just say earlier? We're going to use the what? The inverse. Excellent. Inverse. So let's see where P is. P is here. All right? What two sides do we have? We have 13 and we have 19. We know 19 is what? Hypotenuse. In terms, in reference to angle P, what is the side 13? Adjacent. So we have P and we have the adjacent side and the what side? Hypotenuse. Do you agree with me on that? So what function, trigonometric function, am I going to use? Cosine, right? Cosine. That's what that is, cosine. Correct? So we're going to use the cosine. So here it is. Cosine of P is 13 over 19. But I want to find what? The measure of angle what? P. I want to find the measure of angle P. So this is what I'm going to do. The cosine of P is going to equal 13 over 9. And we're going back to the previous slide. Let's go back to the previous slide. What does it tell you? If the sine of something equals x, then we take the inverse sine of x to find P, to find the angle, to find the angle. So let's apply that. We're going to write that in conditional statement. If the cosine of P equals 13 over 19, then the inverse cosine of this right here is going to equal the measure of angle P. Okay? So we're going to have to use our calculator. And we're going to plug it in just like we have it. We're going to use the cosine, the inverse cosine. So how would I get to the inverse cosine? Thank you. Second cosine, open parentheses are already there. You're going to put 13 divided by 19, close parentheses. Close parentheses. Enter. So again, on my calculator, not going to be able to see that. There it is. Lower it. Why? You said what? The camera's right here. I don't know if you can see that or not. I don't think you can. Okay. So again, what did you get?
46.8 degrees.
46.8 0.8 degrees. So what I have here are the keystrokes for you. Second cosine, open parentheses already there. 13 divided by 19, close parentheses, enter. Make sure your calculator is not in radians. If it's in radians, you're not going to get this. Okay?
Does this also work with other calculators? So what is work with the regular calculator?
If you have the functions on there. If you don't have functions on there, you're not going to be able to do it. Okay, so on your own, go ahead and do this one. Or together. How about you help me do this one? Work this one out. Angle D. Tell me, what am I going to use? I'm going to use what? Sine. I have a person say sine. How many people agree with her? In terms of angle D, what do I have? I have the what? Opposite over what? Hypotenuse. So if what? The sine of what? Of D equals what? 16 over 23. Then what? Inverse sine of what? 16 over 23 is going to equal the measure of angle what? D. Tell me what that answer is.
It's 44.1.
Okay, because it's rounded to the nearest what? 10.
So we gotta go on.
Yeah, and I'll also in the email send you a link to a scientific calculator if you don't have one. With trig ratio, huh? What is that the calculator decimal? So the answer is A. Do you have questions on this? Let's practice another one. Well, I told you what you're using on this tangent. Oh, yeah. Came out. Go ahead and try this one. What is it gonna? How are you gonna do this? Okay. If the tangent of A equals what? 4 over 7, then what? Then the inverse tangent of what? 4 over 7 equals what? Measure of angle A. Excellent. What do you get? And there it is. Do you have questions on this? Do you have questions? So this time, what I want us to do is I want us to look at our sheet that we have, and let's look at the odd numbers. The odd numbers. Turn on the lights for me. This ends the video. If you have questions, feel free to email me or you can call me. Also, I'm going to send this PowerPoint to you via email. Thank you.